I was 32 years old when my own mother left me sitting alone at a freezing train station with 2 suitcases, a dying phone battery, and a smile on her face like this was the funniest thing she'd ever done. At first, I honestly thought she was kidding. "Mom, stop playing," I called after her as she walked backward through the crowded station entrance, laughing under her breath. "Seriously, where are you going?" She waved her hand casually. "Relax, Emily, I'll be back in a minute." Then she disappeared into the crowd. I remember standing there blinking like an idiot, still holding my coffee, waiting for her to come back around the corner laughing. My mother loved embarrassing people for entertainment. Growing up, she'd fake injuries at restaurants, pretend to leave me places, even tell strangers humiliating stories about me just to get attention. But this felt different. 10 minutes passed, then 20, then 45. I started calling her phone over and over again, straight to voicemail. That's when my stomach dropped. Outside, snow was starting to fall hard against the station windows. My charger was in her car. My wallet was inside her purse because she insisted on keeping it safe during the trip from Chicago. I had no cash, no car, no idea where she went. And the worst part, she knew that. I sat down slowly on the metal bench, trying not to panic while hundreds of strangers rushed past me like I didn't exist. A little girl nearby kept staring at me because tears were rolling down my face and I didn't even realize it. Then my phone buzzed, a text from my mother. I opened it expecting an apology. Instead, it said, "Maybe now you'll finally learn how to survive without depending on people." I swear to God, my entire body went numb because in that exact moment I realized something terrifying. My mother hadn't abandoned me by accident. She planned this, and I had absolutely no idea what she was capable of doing next. Should I write section 2 now? For the next hour, I kept telling myself there had to be some explanation. Maybe she was angry. Maybe this was another one of her twisted lessons. Maybe she'd come back laughing any second and say, "Got you." But deep down, I already knew the truth. My mother enjoyed watching people suffer, especially me. I finally borrowed a charger from a college student, sitting near the food court, and turned my phone back on. The second it lit up, dozens of social media notifications exploded across the screen. Then I saw it. My mother had uploaded a video. The caption read, "Dropped my overdramatic daughter at the train station because apparently she's too stressed to function alone." My chest tightened. Over 50,000 views, thousands of comments. At first, people thought it was funny. "Your mom is savage. She'll survive." This is comedy gold. But then the video kept going. I hadn't realized she'd secretly recorded me after walking away. The camera zoomed in on me sitting alone on the bench, crying while trying to call her. You could actually hear the panic in my voice. And suddenly the comments changed. "This isn't funny. Wait, she really left her there. That woman looks terrified. What kind of mother does this?" My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. That's when another message came in from Mom. "Wow, people are being so dramatic. Don't embarrass me online." Embarrass her? I was stranded 300 miles from home with no money, no hotel, and nowhere to go. Then came the message that completely broke me. "Maybe if you weren't such a disappointment, your husband wouldn't have left you." I stopped breathing for a second. She knew exactly where to hurt me. My divorce had destroyed me 6 months earlier. Losing my marriage was already the darkest period of my life. And my mother used it like a weapon. Right there in the middle of that crowded station, I finally understood something I'd spent my whole life avoiding. My mother didn't love me. Not in the way mothers are supposed to. And for the first time ever, I stopped wanting her approval. But the craziest part, she still had no idea who had been watching her little joke video that night. And within the next few hours, her entire life was about to explode. Should I write section 3 now? Around midnight, a woman in a dark blue coat approached me while I sat curled up on the station bench, pretending not to cry anymore. "Are you Emily Hopper?" she asked softly. The second I nodded, her expression changed from cautious to furious. "Oh my God," she whispered. I knew it was real. Turns out, she had seen my mother's video online. But she wasn't just some random stranger. She was a producer for a massive digital news channel that covered viral stories and public scandals. Their team had already started investigating because the internet was turning against my mother fast. Really fast. By then, the video had crossed 2 million views. People weren't laughing anymore. They were angry. The producer sat beside me and asked one simple question. "Did your mother really abandon you here without money or identification. And for some reason, that question shattered me, because hearing it out loud made it sound even more insane. I started crying so hard I couldn't even answer properly. Years of humiliation, manipulation, insults, and emotional abuse came pouring out of me right there in the middle of the station cafe. And for the first time in my life, someone actually listened, not with pity, not with judgment. With horror, the producer quietly recorded parts of our conversation. With my permission, and within hours, the team posted a response video exposing the full story behind my mother's prank. That's when everything detonated. Former friends started commenting online about how cruel my mother had always been. One woman claimed my mom publicly mocked her infertility years earlier. Another said she got fired from a volunteer organization because of her behavior. The internet turned into a wildfire. By sunrise, my mother's employer had released a public statement saying they were reviewing this situation. Then came the call I'll never forget. Mom was screaming so loudly I had to hold the phone away from my ear. "What did you do to me?" I stayed silent. "You ruined my life over a joke," she yelled, and honestly, that was the moment something inside me finally healed. Because after 32 years of being treated like garbage, she was finally experiencing consequences. But she still wasn't sorry. Not yet. And what she did next would shock even the people defending her online. Should I write Section 4 ending now? 2 days later, my mother showed up at my apartment unannounced. Not to apologize, not to check if I was okay. She came because she was desperate. By then, the backlash had completely destroyed her reputation. Her employer suspended her indefinitely. Brands she worked with publicly cut ties. Even some relatives stopped answering her calls after seeing the videos and interviews online. But somehow, she still believed she was the victim. The second I opened the door, she pushed past me, holding her phone in my face. "Tell them you lied," she snapped. Right now, I just stared at her. For the first time in my life, I wasn't scared of her anymore. "You abandoned me," I said quietly. "Oh, please," she rolled her eyes. "You're acting like I left a child in the street." "No," I answered. "You left your daughter." That hit her harder than I expected. For a second, her expression cracked. But then the anger came back. "You always wanted attention," she hissed. "Even as a kid." I felt this strange calm settle over me, because suddenly I could see her clearly, not as my mother, not as someone powerful, but as a deeply unhappy woman who spent her entire life hurting others to feel important. And I was finally done carrying the pain she gave me. I walked to the kitchen table, picked up an envelope, and handed it to her. Inside were copies of every cruel text message she had ever sent me over the years, insults, threats, manipulation, even messages blaming me for Dad leaving when I was 12. Her face went pale. "I gave these to my lawyer this morning," I said. She looked up sharply. "Lawyer?" "I'm writing a book," I told her. "And every penny I make telling my story is going to women escaping emotional abuse." For the first time in her life, she had no control over me. She stood there speechless while I opened the apartment door and pointed outside. And as she slowly walked away, I realized something that honestly shocked me more than everything else that happened. I didn't hate her anymore. I just didn't need her.